Hello, beautiful souls. This is Masami. I hope you are doing well. Today, I wanted to make a short video on the first quarter moon in Libra. So let's get started. You have seen me share this screen many times, but we have been moving through our journey, and then we are now right around this area, and the moon is particularly right now in the sign of Libra. And please know that just because it's Libra does not mean it's your sun sign of the Libra. This is very much connected to the moon, where the moon is staying right now. Well, moon is always moving, but there's an influence from the Libra that is impacting all of us all across, and it doesn't matter what your sun sign is. So let's keep that in mind. And just to get a sense of where you are in terms of where the earth is, where the sun is, and the sunlight is starting to add on to the moon surfaces. So we are right at the first quarter moon right now. And the glory of the beauty can be seen from the earth, because a first quarter moon, this one too, rises around noon and sets around midnight. So it's high in the sky in the evening. It makes for excellent viewing. So hopefully many of you will go out there to take a look at this gorgeous first quarter moon this weekend. And this is just to remind you that the moon phases go through, mainly there are 4 phases, but there are 2 waxing and waning phases. And as you go heading towards the full moon, we're adding a lot of juice, a lot of the fluidity, a lot of kind of a more fullness and nourishment. So energy and the nutrients gather up inside us, gather in the world as well, on this earth as well, and they're rising up and getting activated. So keep that in mind in terms of where the new moon phase is and where the full moon phase is, and how that changes our own internal fluidity and our lushness, our hydration, sense of dehydration versus hydration as well. And moon is reflecting the sunlight right now. So as it reflects, it's pulling the innate potential and the possibilities up and out. So the seed has been germinating during the new moon, prior to that as well, and the sunlight starting to warm up the grounds. And there's this moving up, the pushing up kind of energy. So you are probably beginning to wake up and feeling kind of an inner excitement, energized inside. You will feel a little more inspired to reach for the upward motion, and it may challenge, you want to challenge yourself, and you feel naturally motivated to do that. And you don't have to actually feel like forced into doing. You just will wake up in the morning or in the middle of the day and say, I really want to attend to that. Those things might be coming up naturally for you. So stay with it. This is the time that it's no longer ready, set, but it's a go time. It's starting to reach, the light is starting to be accumulated to the moon. So we're reaching for the full moon from this point forward. So not just getting ready, not getting set, but see if you can begin to go naturally. And with all moon, we are always getting in touch with our subconscious and unconscious mind, right? This massive amount of subconsciousness and mixed in with our unconscious minds take up about 95%, even more, of who we are and how we respond to things, how we interact with the world. So moon is very much in touch with that part of who you are. And also, it's important to remember that moon is always moving, changing shapes, and it has these cycles that are going through. So it doesn't stay in one spot very long time. So this can stir up a lot of the instability or fluctuations that you maybe even fear, or things like impermanence or fluidity or fluctuations, rise and fall of things can surface, and it can make you feel a little bit unstable. But when you're dealing with the moon that is cut right in half, the light and the darkness, there's a sense of balance that comes in as well. And then this moon is particularly with the Libra. So you want to address your internal balance over the weekend, and know that when you flip the iceberg like this, you are being challenged with the density, really, and the weight of the subconscious mind. So allow the moon to teach you, allow the moon to explore that side of you as well over the weekend. And this particular first quarter moon, like I said, is in Libra. So qualities of the Libras will come in through the moon cycles. And make sure that you don't get too caught up in your sun sign here, because, like I said, this will impact all of us. And the qualities of Libras are, some of them are like diplomatic, maybe peacemaking, fairness, and idealistic, trying to create peace and communications and making sure that everybody's equally balanced, right? So, but be careful not to get too caught up over this weekend with things like, oh, it should be like this, it ought to be like this, and it's ideally it should be like that, or it's not fair if you do it this way or that way, and this is the only fair way, or this is what the world peace should look like, and getting very caught up in these polarized, maybe dichotomy, maybe binary kind of ideas, and see if you can choose the way that is a little bit more in alignment with the kind of a middle way that the Buddhists talk about. Middle way, the image that it's beautifully depicted here is like walking through the forest and the bamboo forest as well, and letting the nature heal you, but you're also be involved in healing the nature, because you want to be both. It's and both. That's what the first quarter moon is really teaching us, that you are taking the stance that is not either or, but it's both and. So in a way, in other words, you are taking your own breaths, right? But here's the deal. There's an and there. You are taking your own breath, and at the same time, you're being breathed. So notice that in you. There are two things happening at the same time. And this particular moon in Libra is very helpful if you want to get in touch with maybe somebody that you've been thinking about, maybe expanding yourself and connecting with people that you've been wondering, maybe should I reach out to this person, but I've been a little nervous to reach out, but trust it. Trust that they are ready to hear from you, because that's the kind of energy that we have right now over the weekend into the next week as well. And reach out to that person, because that person also respects you for and honors you, that you muster up your courage and reached out to them. Okay. So, and again, liven each other's lives by leaning on each other, coming together and adding that energy together. That's very much necessary over this Libra moon, that first quarter moon. And next thing that tends to happen though in this particular moon is, like I said, it's like a polarizations that could happen. We can get super stuck in your own preference. Like, I like this, but I don't like that. This is more what I want. This is not what I want. So pay attention to your likes and dislikes and see if you could remove some of that consciously. That will tap into your subconscious programming as well and begin to change that. Pay attention to beauty of the paradoxes, of the fact that you are light and shadow, and that, like, the Charles Dickens, A Tale of Two Cities will say in the beginning of that story, it was the best of times and it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness, and so on and so forth. So we are being pulled, but you're balancing. That's what this new moon is really bringing out for you. And what I would recommend that all of you do is to spend some time with your own self and recognize your inner goodness, your inner truth, inner beauty, and the virtues and the strength that you have inside you. Could be your stamina, maybe it's your endurance, maybe it's your patience, maybe your abilities to connect with others on a very compassionate space. And maybe you are very reliable as a friend or a family member or a coworker. Maybe your goodness, your virtue is your abilities to tune into intuition and tune into what's necessary in this moment. And maybe you're working on your internal geniuses that are around your clairvoyance or clairaudience. So allow these your inner truths and beauty to surface during this time, and embrace that. Really hold sacred of that in you. So let's take a moment right now and do that for yourself. You can maybe put your hands on your heart, or you can even hold yourself in a kind of embrace that you're giving to yourself. And as you tune into yourself, see if you could start to balance your breaths. It's called the square breaths. But the first quarter moon is really good to emphasize a little bit more with the starting with the square breaths with your inhale. So breathe in maybe 4 counts, then pause for 4 counts, and then exhale for 4 counts, then hold for 4 counts, and then repeat back into inhale. So let's do that for a moment here with your own rhythm. 4 counts to inhale, 4 counts to hold, 4 counts exhaling, 4 counts holding, and repeating. All right. I hope this was helpful for you, and you can maybe take some time this evening, take a look at the moon, and know that you're here to balance the light and darkness, and you walk through the middle way as often as you can. Nice to be with you and speak to you very soon.